Educating, informing, serving. Fact TV, keeping government honest.
All right, we will call the meeting to order. Adjustments to the agenda. Thought we could do that under boards and officials.
That's fine.
Okay.
So you got everybody?
No other adjustments?
Okay. Youth services is under that other one.
Minutes from prior meeting.
I will approve the motion.
I'll second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye. And then you sign
That's
your
right,
life
we
away.
have to sign our life.
All right. Public comments. Sherry.
Okay, a question and then an appreciation, how's that? There was, I think it was in July, the concern was raised about conditions on a couple of properties where there was a large accumulation of trash, and I haven't heard anything back on that. Has the health officer visited? Has there been any information, any report back to us about things being addressed?
I believe they have, and I know at least one of them has a dumpster, and the other one, I believe, has moved. Is what I have heard.
So things are cleaned up, cleaner. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
On this issue, I go by that place every day, so there was a dumpster there that filled up and I guess was taken, and there's a lot of trash that remains, and there's no sign of a second dumpster being placed there to take care of that.
I don't think the one near the pond has moved. If
They
that's what
haven't?
you're talking about.
No.
It's definitely still there.
Okay. Sure.
And then my appreciation is, I see that on the agenda, the order has been changed so that roads in particular is ahead of executive session. And I was gonna actually ask for that to be kind of a consistent change. So I appreciate that, and I don't know why it was changed, but I thank you for that.
Okay. That's it?
I think so.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I have to leave in a few minutes, so I don't know when you wanted to get to the hazard mitigation business. But if you want anything from me, I would like to do it now. I'd like to be
If you want to
first.
do it right now, why don't you do that?
Okay. Well, you are, of course, are familiar with what happened because I copied you on all the correspondence between myself and Dorothy Maggio, who was the chair of the select board in Brookline. And the long and the short of it is that no one in Brookline, including Ms. Maggio, knows anything about a collaborative arrangement with Athens around a hazard mitigation plan. In fact, in her last message to me, she mentioned a person on her select board who was also a member of the Wyndham Regional Commission, and he knew nothing about it either. So the way I left it with Ms. Maggio was that it seemed to be a non-issue because I knew of no one here in Athens, with this possible exception of yourself, David, who had any interest in this. I've never heard another person speak about a collaborative arrangement between Brookline and Athens in developing that. So that's where that stands.
Well, it was brought to us by Wyndham Regional, by Alyssa Sapato, or brought to me. We brought it to a meeting, and we agreed that if that would help the situation, I'm not sure you were here then.
I think it was last time, wasn't it?
Well, yes, but it was even before that, I think. And that we agreed that if Wyndham Regional thought this was a good idea and that it would work, and that we would explore that option.
I do remember that part. I remember that part, but I don't remember.
So you know, if Brookline doesn't want to do it, we'll go on our own.
Yep.
And was that just meant to expedite?
It was to expedite, and because the Wyndham Regional has a number of clients that they're working with, it might be easier to do
Two small towns together.
two small towns together that are joined together.
So we can just let them know we'd like to just proceed without Brookline and,
Well, I mean, if Brookline does not wish to, then we will proceed on our own. And if, I know that FEMA has been asked, because I have spoken to the state about it, to do that. But we can withdraw that if Brookline has no interest in that, and if she is the person. Did you talk to the emergency management director down there or anything?
No, I talked to Police Maggio.
Okay. Well,
And you were aware of everything I did, David, since
yes.
so you know that there was no interest expressed in following through on this.
Well, I knew that they had not heard, they indicated that they had not heard that, so if they don't want to do it, then we will proceed without it, and we can notify the state that Brookline does not want to, and we will proceed on our own. Yes.
Was Brookline asked if they would like to go in on it with us, or were they just asked if?
Well, I had thought
It
that-
sounds like we
I
were
had thought-
saying we,
I had thought that Wyndham Regional had reached out to them about
Yeah.
that, them and us, about that. I know that Wyndham Regional reached out to the state, about combining the two towns. So it was my understanding they had, but if they haven't, they haven't.
I wonder if it would be worth asking them, mentioning to them that Wyndham Regional asked us if we would like to join with them.
They're
and
aware of
asked
that,
them-
Lynn.
Did they?
That
Oh,
Wyndham
okay.
Regional's, and as I mentioned, I thought I mentioned at the beginning of my remarks that there was a member of their select board who was also on the WRC.
Right.
And he was aware of that Wyndham Regional, but no, beyond that, that was it. It wasn't like, oh yeah, and we decided or we wanted to do that. But I think that they're aware that, in fact, when my initial message to her got the response of, oh yes, we're aware that Wyndham Regional wants to do that.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like they were in the dark as to
Okay,
what
okay.
my.
Yeah, but were they aware that they wanted the two towns to be together?
Yeah, it was a thing
Okay.
between Athens.
All right.
Okay. But they,
And-
But if they don't want to, then we will proceed on our own, but we should notify the state, and I can do that, that Brookline does not seem to wish to participate in that, and we will get an RFP out for ourselves. All right, anything else, Tim?
No, that was it.
All right, Don, public comments? Don? Anna? Boards and officials. We had, Janet had spoke to the trash haulers. People have been placing trash or rotting food in the recycling. And the last load that they took, they couldn't recycle the whole load, correct?
They just said they couldn't recycle, it was refused at the plant,
Yeah. So,
the last two loads.
two loads,
Two
okay. They had suggested the clear bags, correct?
Yeah, they suggested that possibly the clear bag so that the driver could see what he was picking up. And if it was trash, he'd just leave it, but that. I did talk to him today, asking him, well, what about open containers like totes or something? She said, no, it has to be bagged because if it gets mixed in with the trash, they have to be able to pull it out.
And I'm not sure, some people are confused about compost and recycling, if they think they can put compost into the recycling, which they cannot do. I believe we can pick up compost. I believe every hauler has to be able to do that. But that will be picked up at trash day. And then it would be, I believe they have a container or something. I don't know exactly what our company has.
so I'm confused why we can't have open containers, because it might get mixed in with the trash.
That's what I was told today. They have to be able to pull it out.
But they don't pick up trash.
They don't
and
pick up
recycling
trash
the
the
same day.
same day they pick up recycling.
This is what I was told.
My guess is if it got mixed up on site.
Yeah, well, it shouldn't, because
Yeah,
it
you
should
wouldn't
take
think
the
so.
recycling
Separate.
to the.
Who knows how
And it
much.
should only be our recycling because we pay for weight, and if they have other things in there.
You know, it was my understanding that they take it back to the plant, their plant, and they go through the
Open it.
bags and, you know, sort out things like that.
And initially, when they started doing it, they had an open truck, and that was their idea, is my understanding, that
Yeah,
why they didn't want it just flying out.
but
But
I,
it's either bagged or tied, right? We can still tie it.
Yes,
I thought it was the cardboard that had to
be
be
tied,
They wanted
corrugated
the
cardboard
cardboard
needs to be
tied.
tied and everything else needs to be bagged,
yeah,
that was what they had said.
right?
yeah.
I mean, you can't really tie regular recyclables,
Right.
so. Well, I think that we could ask people to get, clear bags. We also might just do some education, maybe the Athenian, maybe we can put it out on the website, that, it can only be recyclables. It will be refused if it has trash or compost in it. And it may come down to just being people need to be,
Well, you know, people move in, they don't understand what our policies are about trash, so, you know, it could have been an honest mistake, or,
or it could have been just somebody doing it. And the other thing, that if it is refused, that we just take it as trash and we dispose of it as trash.
It's cheaper that way anyway. We
It is
pay
cheaper.
more to get rid of recycling than we pay for trash.
That is true. I mean, we have to recycle, but if the plant refuses it, then we trash it and we pay for the trash, and you're right, that is cheaper.
I think a postcard mailing to everyone in town might be helpful for education.
I mean, we could, I suppose. I mean, that
Now
shouldn't,
everyone checks the website.
not everybody checks the website, not everybody reads the Athenian, but maybe if we could try those at least initially, and maybe have a printout here for, and if new people come down, we have a letter that we give them and say, hey, this is the trash and the recycling things.
And we should request, just a request by the select board to use clear plastic bags or something, or?
Well, it's not a request by the select board, doesn't it?
Or by
Decamp say
decamp, or,
plastic?
but,
Well,
They
but it's
prefer
through
clear.
us, so.
but through us, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm not saying we don't do that, but I would rather not, if somebody has bought 50
Yeah.
colored bags.
Oh, but, no, that's right.
Had to do.
You know, request that next time you buy bags, please
Yeah.
get the clear bags or whatever.
Right,
I don't think
bags.
we ought to tell them to throw away 50 brand new bags.
No, and not, and tell Decamp, yeah, we still want
Right.
any bags that are out there picked up at this point. We're encouraging people to use clear, but there will be
I mean,
colored bags.
they picked up this Monday, and
Yeah.
they didn't leave any, like, plastic bags,
Yeah, there was nothing at our side.
so.
David,
Yeah.
I'm wondering if people aren't confused because when the initial information came out, they said that you had to recycle and you couldn't put the compost, your food scraps, into your trash.
That could be.
So I'm wondering if they're thinking that's where food scraps are supposed to go.
Food scraps can be left out. They have to be separate from your trash, they have to be separate from your recyclables, and they can be left out on trash day
Yeah, it's a bagged
by the
separate.
law.
I don't think that message has ever gotten
No,
out.
that message
That's
never
not
got out.
exactly correct, actually.
Isn't it? No?
If you want Decamp to pick up compost, you have to buy their compost bags from them. And,
Okay.
and people can, I haven't, I've discussed it with them, but it seems like they might not actually have capacity to pick up a whole town's worth of compost. So
Yeah,
just
we-
the few people who come in to ask at the town office, I've let them know they can do that, but people
We-
just
we-
can't leave compost out.
We have to let them do that though. If we pick up trash, we have to pick up compost.
So that
And
has to be
even-
worked out with Decamp if you want it to be townwide compost pickup, because they don't necessarily have the capacity to do
Well,
it.
no, I get that, but my thinking is, really, in Athens, I'm not sure that there's gonna be a lot of people putting compost outside of the road. Maybe a few people will want to do
I
that,
don't
but,
think so either. We've only gotten a few requests for it.
and, I mean, most people either have their own composter or, you know, or a chicken. So I don't think that the compost is a huge issue, only when it's ending up in the recycling. You know, we just need to tell people that that can't be, and that they will leave it if it's left there. Is that reasonable? So do you want to communicate that to them, that we still want to use the black bags until, but we're going to try and encourage people to use clear?
Yeah, and I can call them and tell them that.
And that they can leave it if there are compost and things in it. And that we're gonna try and put out some education on it. I know they have a website that has some information for Athens on it too. Maybe they can do that, and maybe somebody can draft up a letter or information. Can the Athenian put that out?
Gladly.
And we've got email lists and things, don't we? In it? No?
Not really.
Okay.
Town doesn't.
The Athenian does, so.
And the Facebook page that Sandy monitors keeps. And then it could go on the website too, so those are 3 possible outlets. It could also go out on the Front Porch Forum, which a lot of people in town get.
Yep.
Might I just, and this might be a personal request, seeing as how we bought a lot of bags, might we be able to ask that if the problem continues, we will be required to use clear bags, but in the meantime, if you follow this, maybe we can proceed with all the bags we've already bought?
Well, that's what I'm saying, that's what we're saying. that
Right.
Proceed with what you have, but we encourage people when they buy new,
To get,
Yeah,
okay.
to get some
Okay.
clear bags
Okay.
and things so people can see into them. But that we don't want, you can't to not pick
Okay.
up the colored bags.
Thank you.
And if they have an issue with it, so I'll make a motion that Janet relay that information to them, and that we put this out as an education to the townspeople that use the service. And if there is a problem between this meeting and before the next meeting, that we can confer and work on setting up a new system if need be. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Aye.
And who's writing up the educational material?
Janet, you want to?
I can try.
We can send that out as soon as we have it. We don't have to wait for the October issue.
Sure. Maybe we send it out and then put something in the October issue as well, if we could, so. All right, boards and officials. Darlene? Deanna?
Yeah, I have a few things. So I have an answer for your question from last month about emails for the select board members. So for basic web email, we can do it for $6 a month per email. And that would let you have a athensvt.gov email that you check via outlook.com.
Okay.
Oh, and so I wanted to ask if the select board could pre-approve. We don't have the education payment on the warrant today because the state hasn't gotten the breakdowns to the school district yet, but we do have to pay that before October 1st, so we're hoping to get that information. If you could just pre-approve that, I'll cut that check when we have the information.
I'll make a motion that when the treasurer be authorized to pay the school portion of the tax when the figure is delivered by the state.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And then, I don't know if you want to do this in warrants and mail, but there's been a public records request from someone out of state who's doing some research into the 2020 general election. I don't know if it's going to be an issue for us yet, but apparently he's been asking other clerks in the state to physically scan and send documents from the 2020 election. So I've communicated, there's an email from Will Senning, the Secretary of State's office, in your inbox with the guidance to clerks. So I've replied to this person asking for the records, saying that we have the physical records. They're welcome to come in during normal office hours and inspect them and pay our copy fees if they want to copy them. And I haven't heard anything back yet, but it seems like, I don't even know if it's a he or a she. This person has been asking more from other clerks, and so the Secretary of State is suggesting towns consult their attorney about how much to do with this request, because there's not clear guidance about how much a town's required to put into a public records request like that. So the information is in your inbox. It's not an issue yet, but I don't know what I might be hearing back from this person.
Okay. We could run it by the town agent, see what she thinks that we need to do or should do
Okay.
with that.
So maybe if I do get additional requests to scan stuff, I'll reach out to Krista.
Is that reasonable?
Yes, we don't need a motion for that, we can just direct that.
Yeah, I just think we
Cool.
Yeah, just do that. But there is a fee with it, and we would certainly want you to collect whatever the fees were, isn't there, for each scan and each piece of paper?
Well, you mean as far as what our office charges? We charge copy fees, but I usually don't do that work for anyone else doing research, so I don't think have a fee schedule for something like scanning and emailing documents to somebody.
Doesn't the state have a fee schedule, what they recommend?
I don't know.
They do, but I don't think there's anything on that, about that.
I don't think so either. I've never heard of it. I can double check. I think most towns have a fee schedule, but we haven't
But if-
adopted anything like that.
If we have to get into that deeply, I think
It
that
does
we
seem
need-
like they should be charged.
we need to,
If it's even possible to collect, yeah, who knows if sending a bill, it sounds
well,
like
if they
something we
don't,
might
if
get
they
paid
don't
for
pay,
in
they,
years,
if
but,
they don't pay, they don't get it.
yeah,
They need
Yeah, I
to
think
pay.
it needs to be a prepay.
yeah. That makes sense.
All right, so you'll look into the Secretary of State for the fee schedule?
I can,
Okay. 'Cause
Yeah.
I believe there is one.
Yeah.
Boards and officials.
You had some more things in?
Oh, did you?
oh, I do have another thing, just to set a Board of Abatement meeting, the listers were asking if it could happen a half hour before the October Select Board meeting.
So 6:30?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good with that.
What's the date on
October 20th.
that? That's fine.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Anything else?
That's all.
Community center, I think it was since the August select board meeting, I did take down the playground that was up by the school building. The debris pile is still there. Some of the wood can be repurposed. Around the same time, we have an offer of a donation of a similar playground set, a little smaller, definitely lighter construction. It's used. Tina White and I looked at it. We agreed it would need some minor modifications, which I could do out of the repurposed lumber from the first playground. We both agreed that with constant monitoring, it'd be good for about 3 years lifespan.
I think that if we put anything up there, it should be, it should probably be new, and it should be of a sturdy, not a home type playground. 'Cause I don't
Yeah, this
want-
wouldn't meet that standard.
I wouldn't want anybody getting hurt on it, any child getting hurt, or somebody running in or out of it. Tim?
Yep.
Tim?
Is the town responsible for anyone that is hurt on the playground equipment?
I would
Say during a time that no one is there, no adult is there to supervise?
I suppose that certainly anybody could be sued for an injury. I'm not saying that we are responsible, but certainly it would be something that it might be litigated. And but even above and beyond that, I don't necessarily want children up there playing on things that are not safe, or as safe as they can be, that the town puts up there. So
The town has liability for the school, doesn't it?
yes,
And I'm just wondering whether that policy covers
it will.
the outdoors. Well, then we are covered.
Yeah, I believe we are.
But
It's not a school anymore.
it's not school, but the town
It's
still
a town
has.
building, so.
It has coverage, but more than that, I'm just saying I don't want something that's made for a home for one or two children playing on it once or twice a week, to something that, you know, kids may be at more often and be hurt at and think, well, it's the town, so it's gonna be strong and sturdy and good, and
Yeah, it needs to be commercial grade, I don't think a home grade
yeah.
playground.
Is that reasonable, Don?
Sure.
It would
yeah.
be great to have a playground up there, but a commercial playground.
Yeah,
They're
it
expensive.
does get a lot of use.
It does?
It
Yes.
gets use and stuff, but I want them to be safe. I
Right.
don't want-
Oh, no, I absolutely agree. You know, just the fact that it gets a lot of use. Or a fair amount of use.
I know it's not a protection, but is there signage that would be warranted to be up there that just says, you know, use at your own risk?
I mean, what kid's gonna understand that or know that if they're, you know, just out playing?
I'm hoping that parents
There
go
is
with
an
their
adult
children,
with them.
and the children are not there by themselves.
You would hope, but who knows? I mean, kids
I know.
go there and play, but, I mean,
Well, most of what I see, there are adults up there with the kids, so.
yeah, no, I've seen that as well, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
I mean, I guess if we really wanted a playground up there, I mean, it would take fundraising and grant money and a lot of work. It's nothing cheap, and then we would still need to maintain it.
Mm-hmm.
yes, it would have to be maintained, so. But we still have some things up there.
Yeah, you have the steel swing set, and monkey bars.
The airplane.
So.
Yeah, the airplane.
I mean, I'm not saying that it wouldn't be good to have something up there, but I'm not thinking that.
Well, it was offered, I took a look at it, I really don't have a dog in that fight, you know, I'm good with your decision. No.
Yeah. What's official?
I'm good, thanks.
Under report from the school board. The school season has gotten off to a good start. The school was really attractive. The custodians did a fabulous job getting things all spruced up, and the teachers all had their rooms organized and decorated, and it was extremely welcoming, at least to me.
Yeah.
What's the final number of students up there?
38. And I think there was maybe a 39th one coming in, so our school tends to fluctuate quite a bit.
Did you still end up with 3 kindergartners?
Yep, 3 kindergartners this year. It's looking like 12 next year. So,
Wow.
That's a jump.
yeah. Like I said, we fluctuate a lot.
Used to read and get to people.
Yeah, the students were all excited about getting back into school, especially since they didn't have to wear masks and there were no other COVID restrictions. And I was excited that we had the report that families and community members are also welcome back into the school to visit and join in on activities. And they've already had some activities which the community has been participating in. We're short a few staff members still. As a result, we're not able to start our after-school program, but we have interviews going on and we're hoping to get those filled as soon as possible. And then on Monday, we had the second school board community meeting, and we had a number of folks come out, both parents and community members. Not too many from Athens, unfortunately. There were some great questions, and I thought the answers were really good. You know, I learned a lot from both sides coming through. We, after the questions, all of us, the group and the board, did some brainstorming on some ideas to meet the needs, and came up with some good ideas. And one plan was actually put into progress, and we had members that were going to start working toward that to try and meet that particular need. And I was just really thankful for all those that came out, and it was a very productive and well-working group. So, then we also ended with folks asking that we do this more often.
I was just gonna ask if that's something that's going to be.
Yeah, I think
Right.
we decided on 4 of them,
Yeah,
I think we decided on 4.
quarterly.
Yep,
Yeah,
so it'll be quarterly.
so there'll be some more coming up.
So if I can just ask, I tried to go, but I couldn't find the link anywhere to get in.
Yeah, there was a glitch on that.
guess
Jack
so.
thought it was being set up and it didn't, so it got sort of set up
Okay.
at the last
I mean,
minute.
it wasn't in the email that we had from Jack. I couldn't
Yeah.
find it on the website, so I was just, I gave
Yeah,
up.
yeah, that
So,
was,
so was it recorded?
I don't know if it was recorded. That I'd have to find out and get
Okay.
back to you on.
Okay, if it was, it would be great, because then,
Yeah.
again, the Athenian could put that out and people
Okay.
could go and watch it and
Yeah, yeah.
maybe know how to get on to the next one.
Okay, yeah, well, next
Was
time
Fact
we will
TV
have,
there?
no,
Fact was not there.
no, that was not there.
So Lynn, it was a virtual meeting, or you could participate either
It
way?
was a participating meeting, and Jack thought there was a virtual link, and somebody was able to get through, and then once Andy got there, he was able to get it set up so that it did actually work. But it wasn't as smooth as it should have been. We're gaining.
I totally get it.
Lynn, at the end of the school year, there was this controversy around the school principal, and there was, at least the gossip of the street was that there were teachers that were leaving because of whatever, hard feelings, bad feelings. I'm wondering if that has all been resolved to the satisfaction of all concerned, including the teachers and people who have children.
Well, Tim, let me try and stop you there. I'd rather not get into the fact of gossip and things about the school and things like that during our meeting.
I just want to know
I
if
understand your concern.
it was resolved. I'm not
I
asking
can-
for details of anything.
But I can answer that, and yes, it has been,
Okay,
okay? It has been to the satisfaction of teachers, school board,
that was my question.
principal, it's taken care of,
Yeah, I don't need to know anything more than
Yep.
that. Thank
Yep.
you.
okay?
Tom?
Yeah, Lynn or Pastor might be able to answer this. Around the Act 46 era, or maybe a little bit afterwards, I remember working with the Athens board a little bit on potential renovations to the school, and I remember there was a concern about air quality, and this is well before COVID. Did the school ever have an opportunity to address that?
Well, I'll answer that
We're working on
also, is we have looked at some, and we also have a group coming in that's going to go through the building and tell us what needs to be fixed and give us a timeline for that. So that is coming right up. All right, so there is an efficiency group that's going to come and look at our building, and I think all the school
All the
buildings.
school buildings.
And going to give us some recommendations, and so that is a work in progress,
Okay.
okay?
Is-
But it's going to be done by a quality company that knows about this kind of stuff.
And is there COVID money out there for it?
I believe we have,
We're working with that.
we have
That's why
some,
we're
yeah.
getting this study done, and then we can prioritize things, because we don't have enough COVID to do it all. So we want to find out what the top priorities are.
and that's what this company is supposed to be doing, is giving us a, priority down to lesser, and therefore we can work with that.
Anything else?
Yep, and that was it.
All right, Sherry?
The project is almost done, but not quite. Possibly tomorrow, but I won't know that until tomorrow. I have an invoice here, which is technically the last project invoice, but There have been locks that we'll be ordering that were not included, so that'll be an add-on afterwards. $42 a window for the, what is it, I think 12, 13, 14, for 14 ground floor windows. So that bill will be coming in afterwards. What you'll see noted on that invoice is a breakdown in that what I'm asking for the board to approve and for Hannah to be able to do is to cut two different checks for this. The first one would be less 10%, which is what the contract had said, that we were gonna withhold 10% at each of the payments, which we didn't do on the first two. But we'll do that on the last one, and that way it gives Don and I the opportunity, after they give us the, yes, it's all done, we have the opportunity to go and just review everything and make sure it's all done, sort of like, you know, the punch list when you have a big project. And we will see if there are any things that need to be addressed at that point and get those taken care of. And then when all of that is satisfactory, we'll release the final 10%. So I'm hoping that that is all done soon. It may very well be before the October meeting. So that's why I was hoping that you could approve tonight for Hannah to be able to cut those two separate checks when we confer and give her the go-ahead.
I will make a motion that we do that, with 10% being held out, and at the recommendation of Sherry and Don, that check can be released.
I'll second that motion.
All right, anything else?
Can I just ask, the work that's been done is superb, but the carpentry, it's a big list that hasn't gotten addressed yet, you know, as far as clapboards and crown molding and stuff like that. I think there's a scheduling glitch that people that are depending to do during the work didn't do it, but Pinnacle View Window subcontractor seems to be taking ownership of that, so I am confident that there will be a.
Absolutely, yeah.
But if for some reason
There's an issue.
and I don't think that the work won't get done, but the way things stand tonight, 10% wouldn't cover.
Yeah, so,
I'm-
I mean, the last payment is when the project's done, right?
Right.
So-
And I'm confident, and as Don just said, I know it's the Pinnacle crew that's gonna be doing what remains to be done, and I'm 100% confident that they will do it and they'll do a good job. What I'm not confident in is that it'll be done tomorrow. So that's why I wanna
No.
hold everything, because
But,
there's
I
a
mean,
fair
so
amount.
we can pay them, but we're not going to pay them when they say, well, we're almost done, give us a check.
Exactly.
All right, anything else?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, no, beyond that, you know, as I said, I think, and Don said, I think the work has been great, and the windows all function. It's quite pleased.
Okay.
And there is now a hatch in the floor inside that has a recessed hook, so we can easily open it up and get under there and check the condition of things under the floor, which is a huge asset.
Check the water if it's raining.
Exactly, which unfortunately I didn't get over there the other night when it was pouring rain, but,
I had a little word on.
yeah, exactly. But what we don't have is some kind of a little ladder down in there, so we might need to just figure that piece out, but then remember to bring a really good flashlight and be in your grungy jeans.
All right.
Did you all vote on the motion?
No, they didn't.
All those in favor?
Okay, I have something.
Yes, go ahead.
Just to let you know that the culvert has been replaced and it's now usable again as far as anybody. It's much wider and nice job, so that's all done.
In looking at it, do we think we may want to put something up there so that people may not drive off the end and drop down?
Well, once again, it's probably a time and a half bigger than it was, you know, and they do have the boulders right there and the
But
tree.
I mean, I'm thinking like either we put boulders up there so somebody doesn't just take a, you know, and go off into the,
Yeah,
go off the end if we have some.
yeah, if you have some, I mean, that'd be fine. I just, you know, I mean, it's pretty good certainly a lot
Oh,
safer.
it's safer and it's wider, and
Yeah.
I'm saying all that, but it's
Yeah.
just, I'm thinking somebody dark at night or something,
Yeah.
coming from a meeting or going to a meeting.
And
Some
Are you-
people get all
are-
excited coming to these meetings,
Are you
and they
talking
may
about
go
meeting
off
house?
the bridge.
Pardon me?
Are you talking about the meeting house?
No, I'm talking
we're
about-
out here.
Well,
The people
they're
that are
off the
here.
board.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so the church paid for that, and that's all done, so.
So maybe we'll ask Matt to, see if we can get some rocks in there,
Yeah.
just put them in. They may not have enough laying around, but.
I do know that Danny had mentioned you may wanna put some from the culvert up to where he put it.
To that one rock? up
Yeah, up there, because he said that may be, you know, if you get heavy rains, that may start washing out. It goes beyond there, so you're just from the culvert to where I was refractory, you know.
I mean, that was
Fill
a
in.
concern when Scott was here, that.
Yeah, Scott had mentioned that
Yeah.
too, so
there? Will we need a permit for that, do we think?
I don't believe so.
Do you think it's
What-
included in,
Why don't we check with Scott to
Yeah.
see if we need a permit for that? And
Yeah.
if we do not, then we can probably do that
Yeah,
ourselves.
yeah, it's only like 8 feet, or something, not very large at all, 8 or 10 feet.
Yep,
if he needs to come back and look at it and we need to meet, we'll just,
we can do that.
we can do that.
So you wanna reach out to
I'll
Scott?
take care of that,
All right.
yep.
Be
All right.
done this weekend.
Huh?
You'll be at my house this weekend.
Okay.
All right.
Well, if you don't mind, just asking you if you can remember, because I
I
know,
remember.
All right.
So we
but I'll
just-
try to remind you, or try to
Just
call.
ask him if we need a permit to put the rock in there.
Yeah, put a little more in,
Put
okay?
more riprap in.
David,
Yeah.
I wasn't finished.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
I thought
okay,
you were.
but,
Scott,
but
you are.
I'm glad you did what you did because you reminded me of something that I
Oh,
wanted to
okay.
ask about.
Yeah, no,
Which
I
is
apologize.
why I asked if it was a meeting house. There has been some digging out of a culvert kind of right in front of the meeting, not in front, but on the side of the meeting house, that culvert that goes under Meeting House Road and empties out onto the triangle. And I'm not sure when that was done. I'm sure it must have been Matt or Eugene. But what caught my attention was the drain pipe that comes out of the ground from the drainage that had been put around the building. The white cover on that had been broken and the end of the pipe was a little bit broken. And then I kind of went over and started looking more closely and then I saw that the culvert had been cleared out. And the concern I have is that, and you know, I don't know anything about roads here, but to me, what I'm seeing is that the lay of the land that comes down to where that culvert pipe goes is lower than the culvert pipe. So when we had the heavy rains that we did the other night, I'd worry that water could pool below the pipe and not go through it.
I
So
have not
that was
seen
a
that.
concern. And I don't know what happened to the end of the pipe, if it happened when that equipment was in there doing what it did, or if it had happened at an earlier time. But I'm concerned that the cover is off of it and whether, you know, animals will climb up there. You know, I don't know what could happen with the end of a pipe like that. So I am concerned about that.
I'll take a look at that.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to mention now that we are hopefully at the end of the project is that we couldn't have a meeting the other night because we didn't have, the other morning because we didn't have a quorum. But we are floating the idea of possibly doing an open house at the building and possibly having an ice cream social if the weather is still conducive to that, so stay tuned, that may come.
Kind of an autumn.
Yeah,
You got cider
Yeah.
and donuts.
That'd be nice.
cider donuts, that's even better than ice cream. I
That'd be
like
nice.
it. Yeah.
Or both.
Hot cider.
Cider donuts with ice cream.
With ice cream.
Whoa.
We might have something.
Oh, hard here.
Yeah, come on.
Wow.
You might as well just go for it.
Go for it.
As we're all bundled up in coats there, the ice cream's not gonna sell very
Well, the cider went over very well.
The cider was
At the
good.
Christmas tree lighting, so
Yeah.
we'll see. And then I want to make it clear here that I'm speaking for myself and not necessarily the committee. But I have been thinking a lot about what transpired since the beginning of July. And I have a request and I have, I guess, a question. And my request is that the audio recordings that are made of these meetings be archived.
I believe they are, don't you?
They are.
They are, okay, great, good to know. My question is, I guess to the board, Sandy raised points at her discussion at the July meeting about committees that don't meet or don't ever meet and don't have good notes and things like that. I guess my question is about what are the expectations of a person who is part of a committee, and how might the board assist a committee if someone is not meeting those expectations?
Well, I'm not sure. Certainly the expectations would be set out in statute. Say the cemetery committee, there are list of rules that you have to follow when you can, who appoints as one if somebody is missing from the board, and a number of rules. Right, Don?
Yep.
Yeah, time of start, time ending.
Say that the cemetery commission, we keep minutes, we keep things as the state requires, and to be honest, I don't read every board and officials minutes. Say I haven't read the meeting house minutes. I haven't ever sat down and read them all. But they should be kept, and there should be a copy here at the town office.
I'm not asking about the minutes for a meeting, I'm asking about the, sort of the expectations of members of a committee. For instance, in particular, attendance at meetings and communication with committee members.
Well, I think that would go to the committee itself, as, let's say, the cemetery commission. Sometimes we don't have a lot of communication there. When there is something that needs to be done, Don, as the chair, gets in touch with all of us and says, we need a meeting, or we need to put the sign at the West Cemetery, and, we talked about that. But there may be some months that we don't, and sometimes, I've missed cemetery meetings, and people do that. Lives are busy, and so if somebody's elected to a position,
Or appointed.
well, maybe not so much appointed. If they're appointed, then there are chances that they can be removed. But if they're elected to that position, and it's between them and their board as to whether they attend or whether they don't attend, or so. I mean, Harold wasn't here last month,
Right.
but he talked to me and said, I'm not going to be here. We spoke afterwards about an issue. So, it has to go to the individuals as to who and what the participation is with the dynamic of the board that's there.
Well, I'll ask that board member or that committee member if she is still intending to be a part of the committee.
Yeah, I would think
Yes,
that'd be up to
they
the
do.
chair.
She has not been attending meetings and has not communicated until
Well,
this
this-
past week.
Well, I've had good reason. I hate cable, internet, and telephone, doesn't work at all. So,
Okay.
but that's,
So,
that's
I mean,
been all
it
of
should
this
be,
year?
it
No.
should be kind of the
There's been-
chair reaching out and talking to the members, or the members reaching out to the chair, to discuss what's going on or what's not going on. And say a 3-member board, it's more difficult to do that, but, following open meeting laws, but,
Do committees have to follow a quorum just like the board?
Yeah.
That's why we didn't have a meeting on Monday.
Yeah.
if it was a 5-member committee, you'd need 3.
Three.
And then all 3 would have to vote the same way to make it up.
How many members are on it?
5.
5.
But we've typically been having 4 or 3 at meetings.
All right, anything else, Sherry?
No, that's it.
All right, I need to leave, but I would like to say one final thing before I go, which is probably borders on the awkward and inappropriate. But I feel like I would like to commend Sherry and her committee for the outstanding job that they have done for months on this, and years on the restoring of the meeting house. I have a special bird's eye view of the work that is done, the work that Sherry puts in, that is unbeknownst to most people, probably all people, except for those committee members that are also very involved with her. And I think that I would ask the select board to give her and the committee the recognition they deserve for what I would consider an outstanding job.
So let me just add to that there. Not just this window project, but the foundation project.
I'm talking about since Sherry and that committee have been functioning, of which the latest thing is the restoration that she talked about.
Yes, but
they have been doing a tremendous job from day one on this committee.
All of the projects that have gone on there have only improved it and helped the town and helped that building last another 200 years. And if it wasn't for that, I'm not sure that it would last another 200 years. So I would certainly agree with your husband that the committee has done admirable work there.
On that note, I will leave you all.
I would just like to say that all the committees, people don't realize how much they put into the town of their own time and everything.
Yeah.
And they all should be committed.
I think I am at 68 cents a day. All right, we will move on to roads, and we will open for the bidding for the Brookline Road project. We have 4 bids, is that correct, Hannah?
Yep.
First one on the top here is Fitzpatrick.
Now, is that for
The Brookline Road culvert.
culverts? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Fitzpatrick Excavating and Trucking. Remove old culvert and dispose of it. Install a box culvert according to the specs per the town and the state. The culvert is 40 feet long. With the wing walls, it is 7 feet wide, 6 feet high. Inside measurements, elevation sills at the bottom of the structure, 12 inches high, edges 6 inches high. The center backfill inside culvert with stone type. It looks like E2. Install membrane and seal all joints. Backfill according to state specs. Will drain Beaver Pond per state suggestion. And engineer approved and hay and seeded. $154,000. And this is from JP Trucking and Excavation. Excavation for a box culvert installation on Brookline Road. Remove existing beaver dam 1 foot per day to lower the level of the pond to the bottom of culvert. Install dewatering pipe to keep work area dry. Release beaver dam on exit side of culvert to release water downstream. Excavate and remove existing culvert. Install 1 foot thick crushed stone underfooting, wing walls and box. Install new culvert membrane if required, and that says $6,200. Backfill structure with state specs, granular backfill. Install and lift and compact new granular backfill, at least 2 feet out from structure. Install cedar post with logs to keep beavers. Start reconstruction of dam. Raise road grade up 1 foot to approximately 200 feet. For approximately 200 feet, install 1.5 inch crushed state spec gravel, 2 to 6 inch lift grade and compacted, including some of the intersection and driveway for the culvert. Seed and mulch all disturbed soil. Total for the work is $181,200, including the membrane. Without the membrane, it's $175,400. $175,540. The price does not include any ledge removal or any additional work outside the above scope of the work.
So the first one didn't say that they were gonna raise the whole road, only,
No, actually, at the moment, JP Trucking is covering more of what the discussion was on.
okay. So it was discussed to raise the whole road?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
This is A.S. Clark and Sons. We bid $149,970 for the Brookline Road box culvert. Bid includes but not limited to engineering, March streams permits, shop drawings for a 5.5 by 7 foot precast box, including cutoff walls, box, and 4 to 8 wing walls. Box backfill with Vermont spec structural gravel compacted in 12-inch lifts. Final road height will be 12 inches higher, blended into the intersection, and driveways Beaver Pond to be pumped down as per addendum from Scott Jensen. All disturbed areas seeded and mulched, and that's $149,970.
Now, that didn't mention getting rid of the beaver dam?
Yes, it did.
Oh, it did, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
Blended into driveway Beaver Dam to be pumped down
Okay.
as per addendum.
All right, thank you.
And is the plan for the Beavers not to build that dam back?
Oh, they're
No,
gonna do that.
no, because that's why with JP Trucking, he mentioned putting in cedar posts. So it's actually to encourage them to rebuild a horseshoe dam,
Okay.
which will actually help.
So they don't like
It ain't
saying,
gonna help, but it may not hurt. Beavers never help you, trust me. Never help you.
Yes, they do. They're like the most important creature out there for the ecosystem.
Yeah, but they gotta build the dams where it's gonna help the community.
We saw the same
Yeah.
YouTube video as Hannah, they do help.
My Chihuahua just does not like the beavers. They slap, they go, they race around, so.
really scary.
He's a chihuahua.
He's a
what do you
chihuahua.
want?
He's a chihuahua. Enough said.
He's pretty sure he doesn't like the beavers either. Daniel's
They're probably
construction,
5 times as big as a chihuahua.
well, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Daniel's Construction, removal and replacement existing culvert with a new precast concrete box as specified by the town's invitation to bid. Email clarification from Matt Perry on 9/8 and Scott Jensen on 9/12 as described below. I won't read all of that. There, Daniel's is $182,275.
And is their work comparable, the same, what they're gonna do is,
Or I can read it if you want.
Please.
Survey the site and provide detailed construction plans, provide and install detour signage, close road to traffic, install, maintain erosion control measures, perform any necessary cleaning, removal the 2 beaver dams and lower the pond's water level no more than 1 foot per day, install and maintain a temporary water diversion system, and perform site dewatering work around the support of the culvert and buried fiber optic transmission lines. Excavate or remove the existing culvert, install a 12 inches of crushed stone bedding material, install precast concrete cutoff walls and new 7 foot by 5.5 foot tall and 40 foot long precast box concrete and culvert, 4 precast wings placed in 2-inch thick layer of E2 stream bed material inside the box culvert and any other disturbed channel locations. Place riprap in disturbed stream banks. Backfill box culvert with clean granular material meeting Vermont V-Trans specs. Place and compact 12 inches, a subbase of crushed gravel, raising the grade of the roadway by approximately 12 inches at the location of the new box culvert, and tamping out 100 feet in all directions, install gravel shoulders, restore all disturbed areas to provide a better condition. Anticipated project duration is 2 weeks with 1 week road closure duration. All work shall be performed in accordance with V-Trans 2018 standard specifications for construction and all applicable OSHA, VOSHA environmental regulations. We propose furnishing materials, equipment, and labor complete in accordance with the above specifications for the sum of $182,275.
So I didn't hear road closure in the others, but is that road going to be closed for
I believe
that
it will be.
duration?
I believe it will.
Yeah,
But they will be able to go around Cemetery
Yeah.
Road.
they'll have to go up over Valley Cemetery.
Valley Cemetery.
Okay.
Matt told me he gave them 10 business days to have it closed. So 2 weeks.
Yeah, there's just no choice when you're putting in a 40-foot culvert.
No, that's understandable.
Sandy, do you have a grant for that?
We did.
Yes, we do. We have a $200,000 grant.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
I'll make sure.
Yes,
And we have to do in-kind work for that,
we do.
Yes,
10%?
I
Yes.
believe so.
And are they providing their own flaggers?
Everything.
David, the last one mentioned having to drain both beaver ponds, the others didn't mention that?
They understand that.
Okay, so both of them are
But
drained?
whether you call it both or one, or
It's,
it's to lower the water so it doesn't.
Go on the road while they're working.
while
yeah,
they're working.
there's actually a dam right by the culvert that's there now. So that dam would be removed. Then there is a dam further down that would be taken out also.
So both of them south of the culvert?
No.
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 On both?
One's on the big pond side
Yeah.
and one is on the other side, on the exit side of the culvert.
Oh, okay. So they're not talking
That,
about.
yeah,
main dam.
no, they're not talking about the big one.
Okay.
No, that would just make sure that there was flow going through,
Got it.
and there is no area down there. Scott Jensen has looked at it and everything, and he says it's okay to take out the lower dam.
And it's okay to drop it a foot a day, that won't let too much water out?
No,
Yeah,
that would be
that,
fine.
that's
That's
also a
a
recommendation from
recommendation from
Scott.
I will make a motion that we award to A.S. Clark for $149,970, which is the lowest bid.
I'll second that.
I won't,
Yeah, because I'm not sure if Clark's meets the expectations.
I mean, they were all at the same review. They know what they were all told the same details of what it's gonna be. Clark has worked for the town before.
Did you have a recommendation? I'm just gonna. Does that say remove the
I
dam?
would almost prefer the fifth,
Which one?
at 154 instead of the 149. Only because, I don't know, it just seems like there's too much of a gap there to wonder about what kind of work they're gonna be doing.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with well, really, any of the contractors that bid on it. I just know that A.S. Clark has worked for the town before and has done what we needed and wanted, so. I mean, if any of them were the lowest, I think all four of them are competent contractors that will be able to help us. And I would go with the lowest bid.
what is the grant match again? How much does it?
200,000.
I'm sorry, what does the town have, what percent does the
10%, I
town?
believe.
10%.
Do the higher bids provide more service? It sounded so in the narrative, right?
And I mean, the narratives that they put out are what they put out, but it's basically, they were all told the same thing, and it's, I don't
Yeah,
believe
I mean,
any of them are gonna provide more
So-
than the other, except JP indicated that that the membrane was gonna be 6,200, while the others, I believe, all included that in their price, so.
And, Harold, the Fitzpatrick bid does not include raising the whole road. There's nothing in that proposal to raise the road to the specs that we asked.
For which one?
The one you wanted to go with.
Oh, okay.
149.
Fitzpatrick.
Yeah,
Fitzpatrick.
Yeah,
But
No, that was the 154, hang on.
that was the 154.
Yeah, which one was?
149 is
Clark's.
Clark.
That's the lowest.
Yeah, and then you get the 154, and then you got a couple of them for 180.
181 and
180,
182.
182.
So this one, I would say, it doesn't include, it doesn't say anywhere in here to include raising the road.
I would say that they were all told that, and that the prices included that. And they may not, I mean, they're taking notes, but they understand what it is, where the state had the information for them.
So which one is that? That's,
This one's
Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick's, this
Okay.
is the 154.
yeah.
I understand they all got those specs, but when it doesn't say it in here, I'm a little leery of it not being done.
Yeah, I don't want to make the assumption
Yeah.
that just
I mean, they
because
can
they
eliminate that
heard
one, as
it,
far as I'm concerned.
doesn't
If
mean
they
that
don't,
they're gonna do it.
yeah, I'm with you. I mean,
To that price.
I don't want them to come back at us and say, well,
We didn't say
we didn't
that.
mention it, so,
No, but I think with the specs that were given to them all, that they understand that. Now, they do up their bids and
Yeah.
say that, like, one of the bids indicated the membrane specifically. If one of them didn't wanna put down gravel, I think they would've taken out said, well, if you don't want gravel, it's this amount. They all
Yeah.
knew, they all
Right.
bid on the same job, the same work, and are gonna be held to the same expectations.
Wasn't it in that paper that was written up prior to the viewing that you and Matt wrote up?
Yeah,
Yeah, the expectations of what it would be.
Yeah,
and they all got that, right, so,
yeah.
And even though that they have given us these bids, every single one of these papers say estimates, so it can very well
Go
way
up.
over.
yeah,
Or it could go under, but even
that
though-
doesn't happen very often.
No, but I mean, they will bid on it, but if.
I understand that.
Something, if inflation continues as it is, well, things may go up in price.
Yep.
Do the contractors have to provide the flagging?
They do, they want to
Yes.
provide everything.
they have to
Although there won't
provide-
be a lot of flagging once they
Well, the
close
When
the
they
road.
close
Yeah.
it, right.
It'll
Yeah,
just be
they just,
signage.
yeah, the signage.
That's like they had to close the Heights Road in Westminster, we had to go around, we couldn't go that way
Hmm.
for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but now it's open.
Yes, it is.
I bet you everybody's doing the happy dance.
You wanna see that?
Yeah, but you, yeah, thank you.
This one, you looked at it.
This is,
That's
this is
different.
the,
That's different.
No,
That's different.
That's Devin.
So which is the one that had the specification of less than 6,200 for the membrane?
JP Trucking, which
JP
was,
Trucking.
which the total was 181, it could be $6,200 less, which is still more than the
Yeah.
old.
Yeah, that
But
only
it-
makes it 175, so,
Yeah, but it's still less than Daniels,
yeah.
even with the extra for the membrane. Because Daniels,
Yeah, it's still, yes. Daniels is the most, JP is the second, Fitzpatrick is the third,
And Clark.
and Clark is the lowest.
Yeah.
I mean, if the
Yeah,
lowest.
this is 150, I mean, $30 shy of 150, so.
Yeah. I mean, if I had any qualms about any of them, if it was a company we never heard of or never dealt with, you know, I think we could look into it and stuff. But I think Clark's is certainly able to do that and have done that for other towns around and have worked with down Athens.
So, well, they've done work for the town of Athens, and you're happy with it, then I guess I'm okay with that, you know, with your recommendation, then you know what kind of work they do.
I mean, I think all four of these are reasonable contractors that would provide us a good product, finished product.
Okay, all right. I don't know that I can read that. Can you just hold on 1 second? Okay, great, thanks.
You need some this week?
I didn't read this one yet.
I just read this one.
Yeah, okay.
Get those. You got the others? Yes.
Can you hear us? Yes. Okay, so sit down here as well. Tim is gonna be.
Hey, pretty good, I was a little nervous.
I was looking at with the membrane at 181 without it's 175.
But all the other prices included in that.
Yeah. Shutting that out, locked the door.
Yeah, I should have locked it on them, huh?
Did you see this one?
You want to see any of these?
JP Trucking was the only one that was actually asking questions and physically looking at the job. The rest of the guys were just sort of like hanging around.
Yeah, I mean, they can do that but
Well, I know, they're more accustomed to this than I am.
they most of them they will look at it, yeah, okay. But they will look at the specs and they will look at the sheets and
Yeah.
what is required for it more than you get big equipment and they can make the earth move
Under your feet.
under your feet if need.
Harold. So you're more inclined to go with JP Trucking because the way they presented themselves at your meeting and they asked more questions and really looked at everything?
Yeah, I mean, that's just my personal preference.
But they're $25,000 more.
And
20 and 25,000.
and it's grant money, so.
Yeah, but still, we should. I think what we should go with, as I say, I think they're all quality contractors, but that we should probably go with the lowest.
Yeah, and that's an extra 5,000. If we went with them, it's an extra 5,000 we gotta come up with, right? For the 10%?
An extra 500. Well,
No, 5,000.
5,000.
5,000.
So,
It's 30,000 more, so the town will come up with 3,000 for
3,000
10%.
Yeah.
And that can be in kind.
Yeah.
It's not really,
it's
It's
not
not
a huge,
really-
it's not a huge amount. I mean, and if it were, like I say, if it was somebody that we didn't know or didn't have a good relationship with, I could see that. But I think all four of them are reasonable contract. Daniels has done work for us. JP has done some things for us. Clark has done a bunch of stuff for us. Fitzpatrick probably did in the floods.
The only thing I'm concerned about with Fitzpatrick's is it doesn't specify, and I know you said you read the specs to raise the road.
Yep.
So that one I'm a little leery of. The other three, Daniels,
I didn't mean to interrupt, I just, the question is, keeps pounding in my head, did written bid specs mention the building up of the
Yeah.
200 feet of roadway?
Yes.
So, I mean, Sherry and I are going through this right now. The guy thinks he's got a day's worth of work. It's not according to this list that we just gave, you know, that was part of the bid spec. So we have it in writing.
Yeah. And
yeah,
it's-
it's just when
it's
he
been
gave
given
the
to-
proposal, he didn't state
Well,
one of the
yeah.
things that was in the bid specs.
As long as there's something in writing to hold them to.
Yeah, but that's, you know, once again, that just may just simply be an oversight, or may just simply be, you know, that's,
That they're just sitting there, yeah.
yeah.
So, I'll renew my motion to award it to S. Clark for the 149,970. Is there a second?
I'll second it again.
All those in favor?
I'll say okay on that one, because
Aye.
you know, you've seen their work, so.
Those opposed?
Me.
I'm thinking I would prefer JP Trucking.
Okay. So 3-2. So we will, somebody get a hold of Matt to tell him to talk to A.S. Clark? To award it to them?
I
Yeah.
can try if I see him tonight, he's up in Hanover. So,
All right. Policy review. Sandy had made some clarifications to the sick time and the.
Yep.
And you'll have to look at this because our copier isn't working. So, I took paragraph 3 and I rewrote it, and hopefully it's clearer. And I think I did send it out to everybody.
Yes,
I
you did,
thought
but
I
I
photocopied
did.
it.
forgot to print it out.
Yeah, I thought I printed it out, maybe I didn't.
I think it's reasonable what you came up with, so that it's clear for everybody. And it's really not changing anything, it's just clarifying.
No, it's just clarifying it, that it's, on how the sick days are. I'll give you my
Carried
copy.
How it's carried over.
Yeah, how the sick days are carried over, so.
No, you said what, they can carry over, what, 1 year?
Yeah, I think it
From
was a
one year
little
to another, yeah.
confusing. So Hannah was reading it one way and the road crew was reading it another way. So it was just a matter of, you know, let's clarify it so both parties will see it the same way.
And you're reasonable with the changes, Hannah? Did you?
I read it very quickly and I haven't, so that's why I was hoping for her to read it aloud so I could hear it again.
I'll let you read it for yourself.
Oh, you can read it out loud?
If an employee does not use all of their sick leave in each year, then the employee may carry forward any unused sick leave up to a maximum accumulation of 30 sick leave days. Upon separation from employment, an employee will not be compensated for unused sick leave. Yep. Yeah, so you just took out the section about a maximum of 6 days per year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Just-
that's what they earn, is 6 days a
Yeah.
year. And
so we know it's 6 days per year. And then,
And then they're not
Don
gonna
and I had this whole
accumulate- they're
conversation
not gonna accumulate
tonight.
more than 30, so if they already
Yeah.
have 30, they can't roll their six
Right.
over,
Right.
but
Correct.
until
Right.
they get to 30.
Yeah.
once they get to 30, then it would be,
But then if they have 2 sick days, then they can roll, you know. In October, somebody has 30 days and had it all year, they haven't been accruing sick days. Let's say October, they take 2 sick days, and then by January, that's filled back up. So then they roll over that 30 days.
So when they use a sick day, they use days that were accrued first? Or do they
Not
use their sick
necessarily,
days
it
first?
just,
I
it'll be a
think
bank, it'll be in a
keep track of
bank.
it that way.
It'll just
Okay.
be in a
No.
bank.
Just
Yeah.
a bank?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I will make a motion to amend the policy
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
All right. All right, we are going on to an executive session. Does anybody have anything else they wish to bring up before that?
Seeing this is going to happen at the town garage, I set up for a perk test to be done,
Okay,
on the 20th at 8:30.
okay.
So we can hopefully get progress
Yep.
with that. And,
Who's doing that test?
Michael Marquise,
Marquis?
Yep.
yeah.
Now, didn't he do a perk test out there years and years and
Yeah,
years?
he did, but it's gone beyond its
Like,
life.
and besides that, he says in 2019, regulations had changed,
Ah,
so it
okay.
wouldn't have been any good anyways.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
he's coming out to do that.
All right,
lovely.
if not, I will make a motion.
Before you do that,
Yeah.
can I just want to add something that I should have added before with Tim's appreciations. I want to appreciate Don for all that he has done to help us through this project, because we couldn't have done it without him.
I want to appreciate the town of Brookline. We did a collaborative fundraising at the exit, you know, the welcome
Guilford
center.
Welcome
Yeah, the
Center.
Welcome Center, yeah.
Beautiful summer Friday, and
Don even showed up for that.
I was-
He's
I
not
was-
a committee member.
yeah, but
He's
Brookline
He sure is.
kind of outflanked us with food donations and
Oh, they did,
and participants, and yet they still were willing to split it 50-50, which
Good.
yeah.
that was very nice. And that was what, $750 after expenses
Yeah.
for each town.
Wow.
Nice.
You guys did that.
Oh, the people are in a great. People from out of state are in a great mood on a Friday. They're in 20s and 50s.
Yeah, I'm out of town.
So it's all by donation, you don't put prices on it?
It's all
No.
by donation, yeah,
Yeah.
because you can't sell food unless you have all kinds of like
Licenses.
licenses and whatnot, so it's gotta be by donation. The other question I have is, I believe I saw something about a hearing coming up in October, is that
That
correct?
is correct. It'll be
And-
October 12th at 9:30, to meet at the town garage, and then the,
That's the
after
Taylor Hill hearing.
Yes,
Yes.
and after the viewing of the road by the commissioners, the hearing will adjourn to the community center.
Great, thanks.
All right,
So we meet at the garage first, that's at 9:30?
9:30.
I will be away that whole week, I will not be there.
Welcome.
Fine.
There's nothing I can do about it.
I will make it,
Bless you
To
much.
meet
Al.
at the garage, David,
it's at the, well,
meet
at
at the
the, bu-
community center, is what the warning says.
okay, so then it's meeting at the community center. All right, then it's meet there, go out, but they're going to view the road first, and then the hearing is going to be at the community center, so.
And it starts at 9:30 in the morning?
I believe it does,
Yep.
yes.
That's-
So, all right, I will make a motion to go in executive session where premature public knowledge would place the town of Athens at substantial disadvantage to discuss a legal matter and a contract matter.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.